Here we are. Here we are. Okay, Annette, you're up.
Okay.
All right. So I always like to do this. We should probably do this with Lisa and Don as well, but um I think that learning from someone who's been there, done that, and been very successful at it is always a great opportunity for everybody. So let's start this way. How many years were you in the home care sales role?
7 years I was worked for a non-medical companion care agency. And 13 years I worked in a CCRC in the marketing.
And tell us about the location because you're in New York, but you're not in Manhattan. So tell us.
Rochester, New York. Was in upstate New York, Rochester, New York, and I worked for a larger franchise um, that the Touching Hearts at Home I worked for. And we were they were in business for about 17 years. When I started, um, they were at 1 million annually. And when I left after 7 years, they were over 4 million annually in
Wow, that's awesome.
revenue. So
That's awesome. Okay, so what is the hardest part of infield marketing?
I think the hardest part I think is, you're out on the road daily. You're pounding the pavement, you're driving from place to place, you're making several stops to communities, facilities. You know, sometimes, you just have a day where nobody wants to talk to you. It could get discouraging. You have to be really organized, have a plan, make a route sheet of what you're doing for the day. So, because you have to be prepared that anything can change. We're in home care. So I would always have my days planned, and all of you can relate, I'm sure. One thing happens and you're doing an assessment, you have a client issue, you have people calling you, you're pulling off on the side of the road to take intakes. So I think it's just the hard part is like being on the road, staying organized, staying focused. That's
Mhm.
what I would say is the hardest.
I would say staying organized. I mean, absolutely,
Yeah.
especially when your day can be disrupted by a thousand different things. But I guess once you get into the role and you kind of expect that that might be happening, you're a little bit more prepared for
Yeah.
what
And
to do.
you have to be able to multitask for sure. If you can't multitask, this job isn't for you. You got to be able to change in a minute.
Well, what's the easiest thing about infield marketing? What's the thing you enjoyed the most, I guess?
I guess being in the home care, the easiest thing was the mission. We were helping people age in place at home. Knowing that we were making a big difference in their lives. That made it easy for me. I love that part of it. Also, being out and about every day too, your schedule can be flexible. I like that part of it where it could be flexible because you were, kind of making your own schedule being out on the road all day. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd say
Right.
that's the easiest part.
Well, and so when you think about, we do training classes and we talk to lots and lots of different owners and marketers. When you hire a community liaison, what personality traits are the most important? What should you be looking for in someone? And I mean, you want someone who's going to enjoy this job.
Sure. So definitely somebody with an outgoing personality. Not somebody that's really shy. Somebody with, good customer service skills, a good communicator, somebody that shows empathy, friendly, and sales and marketing experience, I think is good, but it's not necessary. I mean, I've seen a lot of good marketers, community liaisons come that have not had any marketing experience, but had these good personality traits and they did well.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say outgoing,
Outgoing.
and really, like you said, that someone who is not afraid of multitasking and and okay with change because your day changes so often.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely.
Uh, what do you wish you had known about this role before you started? What somebody had warned you about? Just know this is.
Um, just that even though, that it's not a typical 9 to 5 job, even though you have your days planned out, things can change in a flip of a switch. Even though you have your good intentions to be out there marketing, you'll have to be doing assessments, inquiries, dealing with, issues. So you just have to, learn to go with the flow. And, this is what home care business is. And you just have to be able to adapt.
Yeah, that would be good to know. I think for anybody starting in this or being
Yeah.
not being upset because you didn't get to those last three places you wanted to go to today.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost sort of like to me, it sounds like you have to be okay that you may not be in control of your day.
Yeah. And I actually liked that. I mean, I have to say, I loved being busy and every day being different.
Mhm.
I was, you just have to be okay with that. You have to understand that, it's just the way the home care business is. But I actually enjoyed that part of the job the most because every day was different.
And I would say this is probably this next question is, what you just talked about. What's your best piece of advice for anyone in a sales role like this? Roll with the
So
punches.
don't get discouraged. We say this in our sales training class, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to establish, relationships with your referral sources. You may go 3 or 4 times to a place and you just get, they close the door on you. Um, you're going to have days like that. Keep some on days like that. I would keep some places that love you and go back to them, and get fill your cup of goodness up then, and then get back and to the hustle and with a smile. But don't get discouraged. I just it takes time. I mean, it could take a few months till you really build a good relationship and a rapport with these referral sources. It doesn't always happen that it's the first time you walk in. So just don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I would also, if somebody's grumpy to you or mean to you or off-putting, they're probably not a very happy person to begin with, and they're probably overworked and unhappy and maybe in their role or maybe just that day, not every day, but I guess it's hard when you're young, especially to not take that personally. But as you get older, you realize, people are either just having a bad day. Inherently humans are not going to be snarky and mean to you all the time. I mean, that's not how they want to live their life. But some people just can't help themselves. They come off that way, and it's not personal. And sometimes it's just the day they're having. Sometimes it's the life they're having. And maybe, so I always try to think of it that way as opposed to, you know, they don't, it's not you. It's not you
Right.
that they don't
Right.
like. They don't know you well enough to know if they like you. They're just in a challenging position anyway. And so they might not be super nice. I don't know. I feel like not taking it personally is the best way to just keep rolling. And if you keep coming in with a smile on your face and not letting that negativity get to you, then eventually they're going to soften up or have a better day. Or I don't know. I just feel like not everybody's going to be negative 100%. And if they are, they probably won't last very long in the role they're in. That would be another thing.
And I mean, I have to say, like, you're making, we teach this in our sales training too, you're making that gatekeeper your friend, that person that, is greeting you when you walk in the door. Um, you are going to come across some of the, some are great and they're nice, but there's some that they're busy. They don't have time. It's not you. But once you can make them your friend, may take a few times. It's a good feeling that you're acknowledging them, you're saying their name, you're bringing them a little something. So definitely, it's not you personally. It's exactly what you're saying, Valerie. They just might be they're just busy and they may
Yeah,
be having a bad day.
right. They certainly don't anticipate your visit or wait around for you to visit. I mean, typically, they're not, they have, if you've watched any of the interviews with the social workers that have posted in the sales training, they're crazy busy people who have very little time to go to the bathroom, much less put a smile on their face. And I mean, it's great when they do that, but sometimes they just can't. They just need to move on to the next thing. 40 families are barking at them about stuff. Just remember that they're in a challenging position too. So anyway, I just feel like that's always good to know. And I know you tell all the sales training folks that. If you could have done a few things differently when you were starting out, or maybe at any time, what would those have been?
So previously to working in the home care business, I worked for a CCRC in the marketing and was responsible for filling, independent living, assisted living, memory care. I had the marketing and sales experience, but when I came into home care, it was different. I did have, some good contacts and referral sources that, I had that I've connected with, but I wish I knew more. I had to self teach myself, but I wish I took some kind of training program or had, knew who to talk to, knew the right things to say. So I wish I had a little more training and direction, when I, was just when I started, but, I quickly learned and, who to
Yeah.
contact and who to make my connections with. But I just feel if I had a little more training or direction, when I had started, I would have enjoyed that better.
Yeah, yep, I can agree. I would agree with that. It's from a nurse's perspective. I'm a nurse by trade. It is easy for people, like it's easy for folks in the skilled facility to not understand that if you're brand new to this job, you might not know what all these acronyms are and all these things, all these abbreviations for stuff. And I mean, and so, we hopefully have helped a lot of people learn what all those things mean. But Annette, I get it. If you've never really been in healthcare, it's hard for you to know what everything means, even PTOT,
Hmm.
ST, ADLs, IADLs,
Right.
DON. I don't know. There's just so
Standby,
many things.
standby assistance, transfers,
Right. I
all
mean,
that. Yeah.
yeah, PO is per oral. I mean, you like who would know? I mean, unless you went to nursing school, do you really know that someone takes their medication BID PO? BID is twice a day and PO is by mouth. I mean, how do you know that? But you might see that somewhere and think, what in the world does that mean? I think it's great that, there's training out there, but I would agree. It's hard to know all those acronyms. Who are you talking to? What are they
Hmm.
really saying to you? Because you're nervous and they're spitting out, well, and you're trying to make sure you take it all in and you're not really sure that you're getting all the right messages. So I think
Yeah.
training is definitely helpful, whether it's ours or somebody else's. I think it is rough to, if you haven't been in healthcare, to know all the right things to say.
Right.
Uh, and even if you have been in healthcare, it's hard to know what to say sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
And I loved my role. I loved what I did. I loved meeting the people, the families,
yeah,
seeing people happy that they're able to stay home comfortably. And I think I, what I love, I miss that sometimes, but I'm happy to be able to train everybody here working for, ASN, um, the tips and tricks and everything that I did to help me be successful in getting a lot of private pay referrals um, so, I really did enjoy it being out there and working for a home care agency.
yeah, I would say I agree with you. If even on your hardest day, the gratification of being able to help a family and comfort an adult child and let them know this everything's going to be okay, and comfort a senior, everything's going to be okay, or a spouse, those I miss those kinds of things too. That human
Right.
interaction and knowing that you fixed something, and you were able to get them to where they need to be and where they want to be. Those kinds of feelings, and they're so thankful for all the help and all the guidance that whether it's a social worker or you or somebody is providing them, getting their medical equipment in the house, making sure that that didn't fall through the cracks. There's so many gratifying parts and pieces to all of this. It is, I can see how you miss that, because I can remember missing that human interaction, or that caring for others, as I kind of stopped doing in person. I stopped touching people. I don't touch people anymore,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
but it is a
It's
hard
a
thing
yeah,
to let go of. Yeah,
it's a gratifying job though. I mean, if
it is.
it's I enjoyed it. So
I know, and I can tell just by talking to you all the time that you're such you would be a great person out in the field. I know that because, and plus people rave about you who you work with for so long. So anyway, I think that's all the questions I
Thank
have.
you.
Other parting words of wisdom, if you have anything I missed.
I think there's a question.
One more question.
Oh, okay.
Annette, Annette, did you find doing activities in the community were fruitful? If so, how did you decide where you wanted to focus more? Activities or in-person visits?
So, yes, I would do, how do I want to say this? I think it's great to do an activity at a community, like if you're in memory care and assisted living, you're trying to get in there. Sponsor a prize bingo, I would do. You'd get on their calendar, ABC Home Care is going to be sponsoring a prize bingo. I think it's, it's showing, I would do it at communities that I would get referrals from, showing them, I'm thanking them. Stopping by the referrals went before, I went into the community room and set up the bingo. I'm not saying to do a lot, but it's not a bad idea to do them, once in a while. And, especially maybe at some communities that, you haven't been able to get in, and you're trying to get in through the door, you can, connect with the activities person and see if you can sponsor an activity. So yeah,
Kind of a mixed bag of what and then in services, did you do the I guess
I
in
think, yeah, and
services?
I would say more importantly, scheduling the in-services, the lunch and learns, meeting with the teams, doing a breakfast or a lunch, presenting on a, educational topic. Those I feel are the, most important to, gain your referrals. But I think it's nice to do some, activities at some communities, to try and get in if a sniff or, like I said, a community that you may have a hard time getting into, or I also, like I said, would do it at communities that I got a lot of referrals from, kind of as a thank you.
Mhm.
Because a lot of these activities, they're not going to say no to you because they need to book these calendars and they're always looking for things to do. They have a small budget. And if you offer to come in and bring snacks and prizes, they're going to say, sure, go ahead. But
Yeah.
I always say book it a month in advance because they do their event calendar a month in advance, and you want to get on their calendar, so they have your company name and that you're sponsoring this event.
Oh, that's great. Oh, and so Lacey says I did my first one this week by ASN's guidance about a discharge package. It was fantastic. Thank you all.
Awesome. That's great.
Great.
We love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think and it's kind of a mix of things. And if you want to see like super, super big community involvement, the interview we did last time, the last continuum meeting was an interview with someone who is crazy involved and always do at least once a month doing a big event for someone somewhere or as a community. That's a great video to watch or listen to because she just I mean and at this point it's some high-end stuff. I'm sure it didn't start out that way, but now she does a lot of fundraising, very involved in her community with fundraising and senior stuff. So if you want to see what that looks like or hear what it sounds like, you can listen to or watch last continuum. I think that's it. Anybody else
All
have
right.
anything? I think we're good.
Yeah.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Happy Friday.
Bye.